Donald Trump has done what he planned. 3 key nuclear sites inside Iran were attacked. The US has now directly stepped into the Iran versus Israel clash in the Middle East. It was one of the biggest Western military actions in Iran since the 1979 revolution. Now the world is guessing, what will be Iran's retaliatory action? Well, apart from direct strikes, Iran may also plan to just turn off the world's major oil tap. The Iranian parliament has approved the closing of the Strait of Hormuz. However, the Supreme National Security Council of Iran will take the final decision. But if Iran indeed does so, what will be its impact on the United States? How will the global market react? And also, what will this mean for India? Let's decode. The Strait of Hormuz is in the territorial waters of Iran and Oman. It connects the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman, which further flows into the Arabian Sea. The strait is 33 kilometers wide at its narrowest point, and the shipping lane is just 3 kilometers wide. But what makes it so important? About 1/5 of the total oil consumption of the world passes through the Strait of Hormuz. If you look at the geography of the strait, there is no other sea route alternative. Closing the strait means a direct oil price hike with an immediate effect in the United States and across the globe. Though the US will be affected, the move may also be an act of self-harm. Iran also depends on the strait for its own trade too. Iran's friends may also suffer. Just look at the countries surrounding the Strait of Hormuz: Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Oman, some of the major oil producers. Also, China will be severely impacted if the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Reports suggest that Beijing buys almost around 90% of Iran's oil exports. The Western sanctions have also left Iran with a few buyers. Reportedly, China buys oil from Iran in bulk at heavy discounts. With Saudi Arabia, Iran's ties are improving gradually. In 2023, Iran and Saudi Arabia agreed to restore diplomatic ties with the help of China. While Saudi is a friend to America and China alike, it is likely Iran will try and avoid hurting Saudi interests. The Indian oil market may also fluctuate. However, the Strait of Hormuz is not the only option for New Delhi. India buys oil from Russia, the US, Africa, and Latin America. India's Petroleum Minister Hardeep Puri said that the government has diversified the supplies over the years. The minister claims India is not dependent on crude oil supplies flowing through the strait.
The government under the Honorable Prime Minister has been consistently and periodically reviewing the situation, including the possibility of the closure of the Straits of Hormuz. And as I have mentioned earlier, we had diversified the sources of supply, and out of the 5.5 million barrels of crude oil that India consumes daily, about 1.5 and 2 million only come through the Straits of Hormuz. We import roughly 4 million barrels through other routes.
It is important to note that with the rise in global crude oil prices comes inflation. Economists predict with every $10 increase in the price of crude oil, India's GDP will suffer by 0.5%. There are already reports that some super tankers have made a U-turn in the strategic waterway following the US strikes. Notably, Iran has threatened to block the strait several times, but has never done that during any war or conflict. But will Tehran make this move now?